Well, actually, we met in Amarillo, and we were both kind of out there on the streets, living how we wanted to, using drugs, partying, doing whatever, and we kind of ran across each other and met. We've been together since about 2013. We both met in active addiction. Very dark times. Shacked up, lived together for a little while, and then that's when we became pregnant with our first child, Haven, and she was born just a short time after. We probably lived there for 6 months and then moved here to Oklahoma City. Still in active addiction, and didn't stop that, so carried that from there to here. Just kind of went through life using until we had our case opened in 2015, and then we were forced to stop then.
I had an interstate compact for community sentencing, and whenever he would come back to visit, he would bring drugs with him, and I would use them every time he would come to visit. One time I failed for UA, and I was pregnant with Haven at the time. And I'm not blaming him, trust me, because if I'd have found anybody else to get it from, I would have. He was just, he had it. I failed that UA, and they put me into inpatient treatment. And that was my first go around with inpatient treatment. And he was by himself here, but he quit using the day before I got home from treatment. I got released from community sentencing a couple months later, and then it was on and popping again. So he went to go live with a friend, and he got sober on his own. And I was just still running the streets for a little bit. And then, I found myself in crisis and ended up doing a bed-to-bed transfer to inpatient. We had to separate to get better during that period.
No, what led me to stop using is when the DHS system got involved and we lost our child to the state. So in order to navigate through that, I believed that I had to become sober. So that was kind of an awakening for me. And that was in 2016.
Yeah, well, I was in a psychosis. And so I had convinced myself of all kinds of craziness. I was just out there in the world, straight crazy in a drug-induced psychosis.
Being separated, being accused of things that didn't happen, and her going through a mental crisis at the time, it was best that we were separated, but she was able to get into Jordan's Crossing, and that helped a lot. It was a 9-month program, so we navigated through that as well in 2016.
I found out I was pregnant with our son whenever I got into Jordan's Crossing. I was still in a psychosis for several months into inpatient treatment, by the way. It was a couple months before I came out of it.
Just happy that we don't have to live that way anymore. It was really dark times of our life. Just shortly after all this took place in 2017, I was able to open up my own business, and I still run it today. It's a lot easier to do life without being in the fog of addiction, We've been really blessed for the past 8 years plus, trying to doing the next right thing and raising our kids right and loving each other like we should,